Hi, this is Tali Berman, autism specialist and author, and welcome back to my Autism and Education 4-part series. We are on part 3. All right, so if you haven't watched part 1, which talks about why it's important to give your child with autism an education, which talks about where I share the real reasons behind it, the why, and giving your child an education, exposing them to knowledge, I really encourage you, there's a link below, to check out video number 1. Video number 2 is also really going to be important to you because it talks about the first step you can do to really begin that process if you're not doing it already, which is about exposing your child to age-appropriate knowledge on a variety of topics to begin to get a sense of what interests your child. So if you are just coming in right now on video number 3, I really urge you to check out video 1 and video 2 first, and then come back to this video for the next step. So today we're talking about how to help your child be a little bit more participatory in the learning process. By the way, all that I'm sharing has stemmed from RPM, Understanding Autism Through Rapid Prompting Method. I think it's really important for me as an autism specialist to always be ongoingly learning ways to help and reach children. And this is something that's been a little bit more recent in the last year or two of my work with families. And so in the first video in the second video, we talk about really giving your child access to different types of knowledge and reading content that's made available through textbooks on things like science and technology and music and poetry and literature and art and geography, and just really going to town with giving your child exposure to things that all other kids naturally get exposure to. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a little bit about how to really get your child a little bit more involved in the learning process, but also how to really assess how much your child's understanding. Right? And this is a very simple process straight from RPM. And that process is this. As you're reading to your child a page worth of material on, let's say, how your body works, after about a sentence or two, write down a choice question and write down the 2 choices. So let's say you're talking about how the food goes down. Right? Does it go down through the esophagus, if that's something you just wrote? Or does the food get pushed down, let's say, in your stomach, right? Or actually in the beginning, you can make even 2 more contrasting choices. So you might say, does the food go down your esophagus or does your food go down your foot, right? So it's a little bit more obviously not the answer. Ask that question and then write down the first one. So on the first piece of paper, I'm gonna write down the option esophagus. On the second option, I'm gonna write down the word foot, put it down, and ask your child to simply touch or tap the correct answer. Right? And it's not as a way to test your kid. It's more of as a way to help and you can say, I want to see, how much you're understanding what I'm sharing. I want to give you a chance to participate. Right? So simply ask a simple question after about a sentence or 2 with 2 choices and allow your child to simply touch or tap the specific answer to that question. A very simple comprehension question process. And you can repeat that process. If you didn't get it right the first time, give new choices, make them even more contrasting. Is it your esophagus or is it the sun? Is it the esophagus or is it a hat? To make it really easy for your child to be successful. And what's nice about this is it not only gives you a chance to see how much your child understands, but also gives a way for your child to become a part of the learning process where they're not just receiving information, but actually engaging in the process kinesthetically, by moving, by being a part of, by participating, which will actually help them learn to begin with. And if you're wanting to learn more specifics about how to do this, because there's all kinds of nuances about ripping the paper to sort of alert him in an auditory fashion that that's happening, prompting by giving him a pencil that he can tap with to know that it's his turn. There are some specifics about it that can be very helpful to you. Again, I encourage you to check out this book, Understanding Autism Through RPM, Rapid Prompting Method, to get more nuances of it. But the basic first piece is to help your child become more involved by stopping every couple of sentences, asking a comprehension question about what you've just read by giving 2 choices, putting on a piece of paper, right? So you might literally write out 1 piece of paper, your esophagus or your foot, rip it in half, show him where the 2 choices are on your esophagus or in your foot, give him the pencil, which is just a simple prompt for him so he can tap which one. Awesome, then you move on, right? So that's the next step, is really exposing your child to content and then asking a simple choice question based on two contrasting choices, two choices that are pretty different. And as your child becomes more skilled at it, you can start to make those choices a little bit more similar. That requires him to be a little bit more discerning and deciphering between the two options. And then what you've created is a really interactive learning process. Your child is getting access to knowledge that he deserves to have access to, and you're going to get to have the experience of seeing how much your child gets and understands. So in video number 1, I shared a story about a mom who used to read toddler-type books to her 11-year-old son, and then began reading to him about puberty and his growing body and maturing. And it was amazing to see her ask very sophisticated questions about adolescence, and him just 100% of the time tapping, pointing to with the pencil the correct answer to help him become involved and to demonstrate his understanding, which again is a very empowering process for your child. So there you have it. That is video number 3 here on one other way you can help involve your child further in the learning process. So I would love to hear what is one thing that you're taking away. Please scroll on down, leave your comments below so I can engage with you and hear more about what you're taking from this particular video. So if you're watching us anywhere other than TaliBerman.com, please hop on over. That's where the whole conversation happens. www.TaliBerman.com. Please leave your comment below.